Hey Sammy, come here.
Yeah? What
Check
is
this
it?
out.
Oh my God.
I know you're into this.
Full color 3D printing.
The miniatures, man.
Yeah, just check out the color, you know, the smoothness.
So you're telling me this was all 3D printed in basically one go?
Yeah, and this transparent one.
Oh my God, okay, yeah, that's right. That's wild.
You can see the organs inside.
You can see right into it,
Speechless.
all the bones, the organs for some like biology class.
Yes. And what is this?
It looks like a texture topology map. This is actually printed in one piece. There's no substrate on this map. This came out of the printer, which is same for this one.
Oh my God.
And this is, how much is this, like 4 millimeters?
And you can check out the thickness. Oh my God.
And what's that one?
This, DTF. Yes, you can print on your bike, on t-shirt, look right there, even on a phone case. Oh my God. So Edgar, how many types of machines do you think to produce all of these models we see?
Dude, I'm gonna guess, we're going over so many different products, at least 3 printers.
Oh my God.
Right?
But what if I told you, all of this, you just need one machine?
You're kidding me.
No kidding, and that's from the HeyGears G1X.
So big thanks to HeyGears for bringing us out. We want to congratulate them, raising over $12 million in Kickstarter. Today, we're going to be diving into what makes this machine unique, all the technology, all the science that goes into making something as amazing as this and bringing it to you guys. So let's go.
Let's get started.
Let's go a little hands-on with the G1X. I'm going to turn it on. The on-off switch is right under here. Just turn it on. And this should light up. This is a display. This is a button, first and foremost. You have a top cover, a front cover, as we said, top cover, front cover, back cover. This is your print head. You got your rails in here. You got the tubes for the resin. You have the waste reservoir and your air filter system. Other than that, you have a USB-C here in which you can connect to your computer. You can upload a file and have it print, as well as the power connection. This is the power brick right here. Let's go to the back and check it out. And as you can see, the back door is the reason why you want some offset from your wall, but also for routine maintenance. Because let's just say you wanted to switch from 2D to 3D printing, you're gonna need to be taking out this relay ink cartridge that is on the top. It's a modular item that you can lift out right here, and it's connected to this print head. So you're gonna remove this, and there's a procedure in which you need to finagle with the Epson I32 U1HD. With this relay ink cartridge, you can see these holes up here. This is where you would fill up your inks, and they're gonna come in these types of packs, and you're gonna unscrew it, and then boom, that's gonna go right into here, right? And you're gonna be notified both by the color of this light up top, as well as in the app, whether or not you're running low on the ink. And HeyGears is developing a system in which these holes are keyed to specific colors, so it's gonna be impossible for you to put light magenta into your black or your blue into your white, because that would be disastrous. So it's just to keep the user, it's gonna keep the ability of the user to break something to a minimum. There's this connector right here with the 8 tubes plus 1. The 1 is for your cleaning fluid. The 8 are for the color resins. This is what's gonna be connecting to your resin station that we'll take a look at right now. So we went from the procedure of filling, switching out the relay cartridge for your more simple 2D printing to full color 3D printing. You're gonna need one of these resin stations. We're gonna take a closer look at your companion equipment to the G1X. 9 reservoirs in here. You got your cyan, magenta, yellow, black. V is for varnish, support. This is your cleaning fluid. And you got 2 whites, because white is most of the print. When you're not gonna be using color inside of the middle of your model where you don't see it, right? Whereas before we have this bottle that fills up your 100 milliliter relay cartridge for your resin station. It's 1,000 milliliters, so 1 liter per each one of these reservoirs. So when this runs out, as you can see, this white is showing yellow. It's probably low. This is not white, but you'll get the idea. You will pour this in to this. And by the way, because white is a little bit thicker and it's more prone to separating, there is a agitator inside of this that will mix it periodically so that it doesn't clump up together. That's all inside of this station. So let's put this back, and that's pretty much what you're gonna be getting in the package when this arrives at your door. Hey Sammy.
Yeah?
Do you notice something about this?
I think it's pretty cool. I didn't notice anything.
I think what you don't notice is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah?
It doesn't smell bad, right?
Oh yeah! I didn't smell like anything like bad or unbearable, you know.
People who work with resins will know that you don't want to be in a closed room with a thing that's printing liquid resin. You want to be out.
Yeah.
Right? However, we've been in this room for a while. Doesn't smell bad.
And there's so many printers, you know, working at the same time.
The G1X comes with a pretty hefty filtration system that includes HEPA, includes activated charcoal, as well as a proprietary blend that inactivates the TVOCs.
Yeah.
So anywhere you can put an FDM printer, this is gonna fit right there as well, with regards to environmental considerations.
Yeah.
Right? You're not gonna be smoking out your workshop with this.
Yes, exactly. All right, so the first highlight is, of course, 4-color 3D printing capability. Edgar, tell us more about it.
What makes the G1X so powerful starts with its print head, the Epson i3200 U1HD. 3200 means 3200 micro nozzles that are distributing ink at the basically micrometer level. I'm hearing 10 to 20 micrometers is controlling.
Wow.
It can combine all of the ink into over 10 million different colors as well as materials. That's why you can get transparency as well as all of these really smooth gradients. So there's not a lot of post-processing. U stands for UV. UV rated. This is meant to work with UV resins and inks. Another thing that makes it really special, besides the print head, is the 8 channels. You see these 8 tubes that are coming into this print head, which means that you get more choices on your materials, your resins, as well as permutations of mixtures between the different colors in the reservoir. From a production standpoint, you can do a lot with this machine. Right? And I'm holding a sample right now. It just goes to show how vibrant the colors you can get from this printer. I'm gonna take off the cover. Just a couple of magnets here that interface with the cartridge. You can see there's some heat sinks on the side. Both sides is because of the UV lights. It needs a lot of heat dissipation. These are high performance UV lights. They get very hot. There's also a heating element on the bottom that is touching the print head. You can't really see it right here, but this is kind of the inner workings of your whole print assembly. When you swap between the DTF, the 2D, the 3D, this thing comes off, and then you're left with the other half of the assembly, the print carriage, right? So this is kind of where all the magic happens. So this is the print head. This has 3,200 nozzles in these black channels. We can't really see them because they're microscopic. We're gonna put this under a 3D measuring laser microscope. All of these are the little nozzles. I know that everyone in the 3D printing community has a history with supports, right? Whether FDM or SLA. With the G1X, you have the ability to print the support material right with your 3D print, and it's water soluble. So there's no more of this snapping away with tweezers. There's no more breaking your fingernails. When you're done with this print, you can see they're kind of in some translucent material. This is actually the support. You would put it into water, and you can see we have I think this is a dragon fruit model. It's in this beaker of water. Water will take away the support, and you're left with your model. No other post-processing required. This method does take time because the water does take a little bit to permeate the material and hydrolyze it. If you're doing a big batch process, you print it, you're finished, and you just throw it into a bucket of water. Now, I will say this this water is not recommended to be directly thrown into your drain. You have to follow your local regulations and laws with regards to wastewater. However, HeyGears does recommend a dehydration method, which means you will take this, you take your print out and you just leave this outside and it dries down into a crust. You can put that into your trash bag and throw it into the garbage. So that's a really cool feature of this technology, this material jetting technology. This is going to be my first foray into Blueprint Studio, and let's see how easy. What's the user experience like? So 3D print, because I'm going to demonstrate the full color 3D printing. So so we choose the device type, obviously the G1X. The printhead, there's one. Let's do the enclosed flatbed because that's the smaller one. Choose links, choose inks, YCMK, yep, and general purpose. Let's go, let's hit apply. So I'm gonna place a file here. Let's try this one. This guy's already been printed, but let's see how smart it is. There's repair, there's all these options here, but I'm gonna just click one-click slice. It's gonna do all these things. Repair, orient, support, layout, slice. And I'm just gonna use the default settings. So I'm gonna click start, see how it deals with it. Now it's generating the supports. Okay, cool. So here, as you can see this clear looking volume, that is all of the water-soluble resin. And now it's slicing, it's creating the paths. So here it is, right here, it's still slicing. Oh, it looks like you can like queue it. So if you had a bunch of stuff you had to process, you could do multiple. That's it. But now I want to do UV printing. UV printing is either 2D or DTF. Let's go open flatbed, because let's just say I want to do DTF. So you have 3D texture printing, or you have UV general printing, which again is what Sammy demonstrated before. So we can apply. And now you have your workspace where you would import a design that you would print onto your t-shirt or mug or tote bag or cell phone case, right? Okay, so that's Blueprint right here. So let's check out Heyverse, HeyGears 3D and 2D model repository. We want to take a look at this. You can upload a picture of a kid and you prompt it. Say here's like create a full body standing 3D character based on the provided half body photo. This is like a prompt. You click on image generation or 3D model generation. It takes a couple of minutes. You will end up with something like this, which then you can bring into Blueprint. So they got this. This was totally generated from that picture. So a little bit of AI for you guys. That's the HeyGears software experience.
All right, now here we go. We are in the lab now, Acre.
The yellow light, feeling very laborious in the laboratory. They're filtering out the blue light because a lot of the resins are UV sensitive. So they're working and researching here. And what are we doing right now, Sammy?
So we are talking about another highlight of the G1X, which is the DTF. I have reviewed lots of DTF machines, and this one features the printhead, which is the i3200 U1HD. Okay. For the previous machines I reviewed, if they use this printhead, they will print the brand i3200 right on the machine, because that printhead is one of the best, top of the top, Now
we're gonna see how this one looks, how this compares head to head with all the other machines that Sammy has reviewed.
Yeah. So yeah, right now it's in action, and right now you're talking about the ink cartridge switching from 2D to 3D.
This is the authoritative breakdown of the G1X in its 3 configurations. You have full color 3D printing, full color 2D printing, as well as DTF. The 2D printing is confusing because you can also do 3D. We call it like 2.5 printing, which is like textured pictures, okay? But every one of those configurations requires you to do a cartridge swap, which means the relay cartridge on the back, the tube, as well as the cartridge within the printhead. The printhead itself stays. You do not have to change that out, However, the cartridge itself is going to be swapped. Sammy, why don't you show them what we're talking about?
Yeah, that's the one that's modular.
So it's going to be user swappable, very convenient. It's probably going to like be a 10-minute change. You take the old one out, you put the new one in, and then it does a little bit of a calibration, then you're ready to rock.
Yes, that's it.
The reason for this is because each one of these modes requires different types of either ink or resin. The DTF ink is different from the 2D ink, which is different from the 3D resin.
Yes.
And therefore, instead of having to clean it out and purge the tubes, which can leave residue, it can leave damage if it's it can damage your print head. You have to change it out and just make sure that the different inks, different resins don't intermix.
Yes.
That's the reason for this system that the G1X is implementing, okay?
Yeah, I just love this module design. Everyone can do that, you know?
Absolutely. Right now, as you can see, we have this shroud open right now on the top. Usually, it'll be closed.
Close it.
We're just opening it to demonstrate the printing, as well as the user. If you want to look at it yourself, you can open it and take a look at what's going on inside of the work area. That being said, there are cameras in here. One camera, there's going to be another camera on the other side that gives you a peripheral view of what's going on in your head. You can, in the work area, you can see it on your app as well in the future over the cloud. You have the 3D, 2D, as well as DTF, right? However, there's also different build plates. This machine has the large build plate right now because we're doing a t-shirt, so the DTF is going to be a large transfer.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's going to require to have this front side open. We've actually taken off the front cover, but you can leave it on and you will see that this comes out of the machine, so the large print head.
All right, it's almost finished.
What was that, 5 minutes?
5 minutes or 6 minutes?
In your experience, most of the DTF machines, they don't use as high a quality print head as this one, right?
Very rare, very rare.
Very rare, yep.
Very rare, very rare.
All right, you ready? Do the honors, man.
Okay. Wow. At least from what I see, it's like really detailed, even with this yellow light.
You ready to put on a shirt?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Let's go. Sammy, you've done this before.
Yeah, many times actually. Like this. Next step, we melt the powder like 350 seconds, 140 degrees Celsius. All right.
Fresh out the oven, baby.
It's hot, be careful. Of course, t-shirt. Hit press light to get to flatten the t-shirt a little bit. 6 seconds is enough.
Pressure's on, bro, pressure's on.
I hope it's in the middle. I hope so. Otherwise, my wife will get very angry about this.
You can blame no one but yourself.
That's right. Wait. All right. All right. That's my favorite family photo. All right, so here you go. Under this normal light condition, crystal clear, perfect. It is the best DTF I have ever used. I mean, the quality, the printing quality.
So this is the part of the video where it gets a little mathy. But bear with me, because I think a lot of people are going to care about this, especially the small business owners, especially the Etsy sellers. We've done some back of the envelope calculations, really more like Excel sheet calculations, to kind of give people an idea about the costs of using the G1X to produce something like this, or a pallet of these keycaps that are still in their support forms, just to give people an idea, right? So in a milliliter amount, to print this guy, you're using around 244 milliliters, rounding up, which translates to around $9 US in today's currency. But there's other aspects that you have to consider as well, right? So like print time. This takes 8.5 hours to print, which it also which also means that we are taking into account the wear and tear on the printhead itself. So doing math, if the printhead lasts around 21, if we're going off of a 2100 hour lifespan for the printhead, and the printhead lasts it, and the printhead costs $1,300 US, then that means around $5 to print this guy. So that's on top of the $9 of resin. So $9 plus 5, and let's take into account the maintenance. If you're running this machine for, again, this is gonna vary, but if you're running this machine for 8 hours a day, 5 days a week, the maintenance spread out over that week is gonna means that this this little model costs 6 cents in all of the purging of the resin and the ink that happens during the work week. So your grand total to print this is gonna be around $14, $13.84, right? And to get an idea of this tray, this is 362 milliliters, 363 milliliters of ink. That's $13 worth of material, $7 of wear and tear on your printhead, and 9 cents of maintenance cost, let's say. So your grand total for all of these keycaps is, your grand total of all these keycaps is around $20.20. So let's say $20, under $21, right? Nice round numbers. That's it. That's the math. That's the math part. Congratulations. You made it through the math part.
All right, that's the video, and I hope you have learned one thing or two. And yeah, Acre, what do you think about it?
I was about to ask you the same question.
Okay.
You got a shirt out of it.
Yes, I love it. I love this DTF feature. I love this 4-color 3D printing. I love the textures, UV printing. Oh my God.
We try to ask as many questions as we could about the fit, the function, as well as the science behind this machine.
Yeah.
Because we know a lot of you guys at home who are backing and supporting this product probably have these questions as well. Mm-hmm. However, if we missed any, type them in the comments below, and we will reach out to HeyGears to reflect what we missed, right?
Yeah, we just tried our best to present as details as possible. So, but yeah, it's still reviewing it on the refinement. As you can see, the engineers is working around the clock to get everything right, you know. I appreciate the hard work.
I'm just super excited that something like this exists. I never thought that we are gonna have material jetting for under $20,000, right? I have some ideas off the top that I know I want to make with something like this. So when you get yours, let me know. Yeah, sure. I will let you know. And yeah, if you have any questions, let us know. And yeah, so the video. Thanks for watching. I'm Sammy. Acre. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Subscribe and like and subscribe. The G1X is definitely not HeyGears' first foray into 3D printing. They ship machines all over the world that produce high-end dental and medical grade equipment that goes into human bodies, as well as in-ear monitors for professional musicians. The reason why the G1X is so different is because they've been developing resins that specifically work on the Epson i3200 U1HD. And we're gonna go into the labs, talk to engineers, see their processes, what makes it possible that a machine that used to cost $100,000. So come with me, let's go. I'm with Ami, Chief R&D Engineer at HeyGears. He's gonna run us through a couple of the major steps in which they get both the color as well as the texture, the print layers, how they get those calibrated in the G1X. He's gonna demonstrate on very expensive equipment why the work in here matters so much before they send out the G1X into the world. He's gonna scan it, and the computer is gonna see what is the discrepancy. So you can see he just scanned this green color this green is this green, not this green. So there's some discrepancy, right? And why this is important is because when we go see what is coming out of that Epson printhead, you're gonna realize that the computer and the machine needs to know how to mix the ink to get exactly this color. You don't want this color, you want this color. But the only way to know the discrepancy is if someone manually comes in and does this line by line. The printhead is capable of over 10 million colors. So the more data that the machine has on how to get each individual color, the more true to life, the more true to the artist's intent, the creator's intent, that you're gonna get out of the G1X. These are all printed off of the G1X. This is printed, and to get these colors, this is a special format that they print. They put it on here, and then they test it, right? Using the data that they get from this, it affects the droplet size, droplet quantity, droplet distance, because you're mixing in specific ratios to get all the different colors, right? And so this is a very painstaking process, but it's gotta be done so that the G1X prints stuff the way that you want it to look like. This is not just like a set it and forget it thing. It's very manual, it's very painstaking. I hope people appreciate that at home. By the way, this screen is not a normal LCD screen. This is a specialty screen that accurately displays colors for like professional photographers and filmmakers. At HeyGears, we have access to this 3D measuring laser microscope that they use to inspect prints, but we can also use it to take a look at this print head. All of these are the little nozzles, right? And right now we're inspecting each little, I guess you can call it a little pixel of ink. And I'm not sure what color this is. Is this white color?
Yes.
This is a white color. It doesn't show up as white because of the light and stuff, but we can see the uniformity, the overlap. Maybe there's some calibration issues. That's all done here to make sure the controls on the machine are working as intended, or can they be improved. So this machine is also able to basically see in the third dimension. So this is not just a microscope that sees in the 2D. We can also make this 3D and see the texture of this print. We're also measuring the heights of all of the prints. They take a scan of it, and then you can see the discrepancy, how evenly it's printing. This is data that will be fed back into the software so I can calibrate. Because if you're thinking about how difficult it is, every pass is moving fast, how much it takes to control precisely how much material to put on each layer. That's an extremely difficult problem that takes a lot of data, a lot of pre-processing and post-processing to do. And right now they're doing that work in this room, and there's tons of engineers working on it right now. So props to them, props to HeyGears. We're really excited to see how much more they can optimize. Because right now we've already seen the prints, the quality that they have. It's only gonna get better. I'm with Wei Wen, product manager of the G1 series. We're here to ask him some pretty hard-hitting questions, because it's better to hear it from HeyGears themselves about the important information that we all want to know, right? So I'm going to give you a soft one right now. HeyGears is known for their industrial 3D printers as well as their industrial 3D printing services, right? What made you guys want to jump into the consumer side?
That's a very fundamental question. In fact, HeyGears rooted in consumer market since it's founded, and we have been manufacturing hi-fi earphone casings since 2016, and in 2021, we started developing LCD resin printer for ordinary customers, and in 2022, we started exploring full color 3D printing, and we tried multiple technical approaches along the way. And today we are confident to achieve the full color 3D printing via the digital material jetting technology at a consumer grade price to serve home and office users, and DIY makers, and the workshops, and small business owners.
No, that's really interesting because to me, you are going to be serving customers that are consumers, right? But once people start getting these into their homes, they're going to start becoming businesses, because this is not just a hobby printer. You can use it to develop final products in which you can bring to market.
Yeah, it's a more than hobby printer.
It's definitely more than a hobby printer. Yeah, that's really cool. So HeyGears has always been consumer facing, but bringing this package to the consumer in a whole new form factor, because as you say, it's digital material jetting technology. You're making it accessible to the masses. That's really what's special about the G1X. So number 2 is a material science question. The resin. What really makes the G1X possible is the particular resin that you guys have developed for the G1X, right? Can you kind of talk about what that process was like? Because you can't just put any off-the-shelf resin into this machine. It's not gonna work, right? And resin, as we know, it's difficult to work with. If it's not cured properly, if it's not mixed properly, it can be brittle, it can be off color, the color's not right.
And it could be messy.
It can be messy. So what did you guys do at HeyGears to make it work?
And the resin and the ink lies the heart of our material work. And based on the material library and the formulas accumulated from the former dental applications we built, and we change the formula and test it, we break it, and then we fix it again and again. About for more than 2 years, thousands of tests, and plus, and we also coordinate the printer and the resin, to make them work as one system. And by fine-tuning the parameters.
By fine-tuning the parameters, that's how it works. You need a low viscosity resin. You need a high DPI printhead.
And together with low viscosity resin.
Low viscosity resin. With sophisticated software that can handle all of the calculations, and that's what's going to give you the impressive end product that people are going to be able to use right away.
The result is you can get strength without sacrificing print speed.
Yes, so I'm really glad you were on this point, because print speed, how fast is that Z layer moving? Can you kind of talk about the Z axis speed? What are we looking at in terms of print times?
And obviously the print time depends on the model itself. And if the model is taller, it will take a much longer time to finish the print job. And the typical print, the layer thickness is about 0.02 millimeters. And the print time for each layer is close to that of a regular 2D UV printer. And the print time not only relates to the height, but
height?
But also relates to the layout. And the software or the machine is smart. It will skip the moving range. It will skip the blank range during the printhead is moving afterwards. So it saves time.
So also what I'm getting is, if you're printing something small, the head itself has inertia. Right? So as it moves back and forth, it needs to account for stopping and going back, back and forth, right? So that ratio between the actual print and how much time it takes for it to stop back and forth is going to be much higher than, say, if you had a long range. So you can print 20 products or 20 figurines or whatever you're printing. So the ratio between the actual printing and the starting and stopping is much lower.
Exactly.
So per layer, you're gonna get a much more better use of your time. Say. Okay. So that's something to consider as an end user. How do you design your layout? What are you printing? Obviously, it's gonna vary.
And I forgot to say typical print speed is about 50 to 120 cc per hour.
So that's kind of how you're gonna want to measure this, right?
Yeah.
Not the speed of the print, but like how much resin you're using per hour.
Yeah.
Right. So 50 to 120 cc per hour. Just to have an idea of what that means, like each one of these little reservoirs is around 100 cc,
Yeah.
right? In the relay cartridge. So if you think about it, if you only use one color, you could probably finish that in 1 hour. Like roughly speaking, kind of just giving you a order of magnitude. So everyone's curious about the smell, right? Anyone who's worked with resin knows that it is not pleasant to be in a room where resin is curing. You're mixing resin, you're curing it. It's like, oh my God, my head's a little dizzy. How do you keep this machine from doing that? Because we're obviously working with resin, right? What's the system that this utilizes?
If you use a printer with the two layers closed, yeah, the full machine is fully sealed. Plus, there is a multi-layer filter inside the printer, and it catches the small particles and smells and keeps the air clean.
Yes.
Yeah, and the air is circulated in the cabinet if it is closed.
If it's closed, when you close it, the air is self-circulating, and the filter's right here.
Yeah.
Right, and it's just keeping that air moving inside to catch the odors, the VOCs.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming there's HEPA in here, and there's charcoal, activated charcoal.
Yeah.
And probably other things in here, right? But you guys are the one that will be selling replacement cartridges.
Yeah.
Correct? But okay, so you have the fully sealed mode for the G1X, but right now it's open. We have the large build plate.
Yeah.
So what about this? What happens? Does this break the self-circulation of the air filtration?
And first, the resin or the ink is instantly cooled after ejected from the printhead. And the amount that goes to the air or goes outside the machine is very small. And the resin itself, we have the rolls and the reach and the certificate and the VOC emission
Certificate.
Yeah.
Is that, you guys already have that now? Or it's in the process of being obtained?
Yeah, we have the rolls and the reach certificate now, and we are doing the VOC emission test.
Okay, cool. So you guys already have the ROAHS certificate now. They've already applied successfully, and the G1X has that. So what you're saying is because the resin is instantly cured, this is different from SLA printing where you literally have a vat of resin that's open at all times, open to the air. The resin's coming out in micro droplets.
Yeah.
And as it goes over, tiny droplets, and as it goes, the UV light's just shining on it, and it crystallizes. And so in seconds.
Yeah.
So the emissions is much lower.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's okay to even have this open and printing with the large format.
Yeah.
For the G1X, can you describe the software ecosystem that comes with this machine? Because obviously creatives, makers, we're gonna be modeling stuff in so many different programs. And how do we then get it into the G1X?
Yeah, the G1X comes with a Heyverse AI tools plus the Blueprint Studio. The Heyverse is a website that you can get printable files or printable resources.
Yep.
Yeah, and we also offer several AI tools for generating models or generating pictures.
So, Heyverse
and Blueprint Studio.
And Blueprint Studio.
And the Blueprint Studio is a slicer software.
It's a slicer software.
Yeah, and it is necessary for the G1 series.
You need to use it for the G1 series. We're not going to be using other slicers with this.
Right now, it's not allowed.
No, not allowed.
Yeah.
You have to use Blueprint Studio.
Yeah, but we will provide a offline use for the Blueprint Studio.
Okay,
and
so it's not always cloud-based. You can use it offline.
Yeah, and the print-related functions will be permanently free
Permanently free.
Yeah.
Very cool. How about if I were to be controlling this from the internet over the cloud? Is that free as well?
It's free.
Is that free as well? Okay.
And we also will offer a LAN or LAN mode, yeah, to control the printers remotely.
Can you talk a little bit about the RIP plugin with Blueprint, the raster image processing? Because slicers are slicers, but you also need a way to control the color, right? Because this is full color. So talk a little bit about that. How does Blueprint Studio deal with the color of your prints?
Yeah, that's a good question. And we use the RIP or the Resin image processor to deal with the color.
Yep.
And the BPS or the Blueprint Studio will slice the module into different images. Each image stands for an individual channel. And then the printer itself will do the RIP itself. It will turn the color image into the dot image.
Nice. Okay. Can you talk about what is your guys' data policy when it comes to Blueprint Studio? You have a lot of users that are going to be uploading their designs into your platform. How do you guys protect people's data? How do you guys make sure it's anonymized? How do you guys make sure that people are able to keep their intellectual property?
And that's two parts. First, I'm going to talk about the Heyverse, or the website platform, and the resource uploaded by the user. The copyright license will be chosen by the user itself. Yeah, from the CC0 to several CC BY licenses. And the other part, that in the slicer software, the BPS, the data is stored locally. The whole data is stored locally on the user's computer. And but we also provide the cloud sync function. But it is depend on the user whether to use it.
Okay. So when it's stored on the cloud, I'm assuming it's going to be the HeyGears cloud. All of those clouds are going to be following, say, local laws and provisions, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in the EU, it's going to be following the EU GDPR. In the US, we have our own, maybe state by state, and that's very important for a lot of people using these tools, because they want to make sure their data is not used to be training someone's AI, right? So that's good to hear. That's good that you guys are thinking about this proactively. So right now, with all the supply chain chaos going on in the world, we just want to make sure, because Kickstarter is a high stakes platform when it comes to backing something and being very disappointed because it takes forever to get what you backed, right? You guys have a solid supply chain of the i3200 printheads, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing that we're gonna be like, oh, sorry, we're just waiting on our supplier in Japan to give us what we need to finish this machine. You guys are gonna be able to ship out all the orders in a timely manner.
Yeah.
Right? So can you speak a little bit about that?
And I want to make it straight. And we have contacted the Epson headquarters at the early development stage when we developing the G1X.
It's like 2 years ago.
Yeah, right. About nearly 2 years.
Yeah.
And our allocation has been secured well before the campaign started.
Nice, nice. I'm not gonna ask you how many because there's been a lot of pre-orders, but you guys are very confident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, awesome. And just sticking with the printhead, right? This is kind of the big ticket item on this machine. It's something that we're gonna be replacing after a while, but let's just say in usage, something happens to it. It gets clogged, it gets damaged by accident. How easy is it for the user to replace it themselves? Do we need to call a technician to come to our house, or we just order it from the website and we can do it ourselves?
The user can do it yourself. And the step is pretty simple and quick. And and just you can replace it at home. And this is what we designed on purpose.
Nice.
And the price is transparent. And it is much lower than the similar the same printhead. The price is much lower than that on the similar printer in its class. Since the Epson i3200 printhead is a widely used and widely tested printhead in industrial usage, we can secure a working hour more than 2,000 hours.
More than 2,000 hours.
Yeah.
Okay. And let's just say we need to replace it. If you guys send it out to us, is it going to be this whole this whole block, or that you'll just send up the print head and we can replace it ourselves?
And the carriage is modular.
The carriage is modular.
And you can replace it by just a few screws.
Cool. A few screws. If you're a small business owner, if you're a maker, you definitely got a screwdriver, you're handy, you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
So, Wei-Wen, thank you so much for taking your time out to answer our questions at HeyGears. And this is really cool. Let's keep moving and see what else we got.
Thank you.
All right.